When your budgie tilts its head at you, do you actually know what that means? Most people think it's just cute. Maybe your bird looks curious. Maybe it seems like they're simply watching you. But behind that small movement, there's something deeper that most owners completely miss. In fact, that little head tilt is one of the most meaningful signals your budgie can give you. And if you ignore it, which many bird owners do, you might miss what your bird has been trying to communicate all along. So what does it really mean when your budgie tilts its head like that? Let's start with the most common misunderstanding. 1. It's not just curiosity. Have you ever noticed your budgie tilting its head when you're talking, moving, or even just looking at them? Most people assume the bird is simply curious, and yes, curiosity is part of it. But here's what's actually happening. Budgies tilt their heads because their eyes are positioned on the sides of their heads. This means they can't focus on objects the same way humans do. To see something clearly, they often have to turn or tilt their heads so one eye can focus directly on what they're looking at. Think about that for a second. Your budgie isn't just randomly moving its head. It's actually adjusting its vision to study you more closely. And that means something important, because birds usually only pay this much attention to things they care about. And that brings us to something even more interesting. 2. Your budgie is studying you. Have you ever felt like your bird is watching you very carefully? Like they are analyzing everything you do? That feeling might actually be correct. Animal cognition research shows that parrots, including budgies, are extremely observant animals. In fact, studies on parrot intelligence show they constantly monitor their environment for signals, patterns, and behaviors. But here's where it gets interesting. When your budgie tilts its head specifically toward you, it's not just observing the environment, it's studying you. Your voice, your facial expressions, your movements. Think about that for a second. Your bird is trying to understand you the same way you try to understand them. And that creates something much deeper than most people realize, a social bond. But there's another hidden layer most owners never notice. 3. It's a sign of trust. Budgies are prey animals. In the wild, they must constantly watch for danger. That means they rarely focus deeply on one thing unless they feel safe. So when your budgie tilts its head toward you, studies on bird behavior suggest something important is happening. The bird feels secure enough to relax its constant scanning of the environment. Instead, it's focusing its attention on you. Think about that for a second. Your bird is choosing to give you its attention, and attention for prey animals is a form of trust. Now, before we continue, if you're learning something new about your budgie, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more bird lovers who want to understand what their birds are really trying to say. Now, here's where things become even more meaningful. 4. This behavior comes from flock instincts. In the wild, budgies live in large flocks, sometimes hundreds of birds. Inside those flocks, communication is constant. Birds watch each other's movements carefully to understand what's happening around them. Who found food, who spotted danger, where the flock is moving next. So they naturally study the behavior of birds around them. But here's something amazing. When you bring a budgie into your home, something changes. You become part of their flock. So when your budgie tilts its head toward you, it may be using the same instinct it would normally use with other birds. It's watching its flock member, you. Think about that for a moment. Your bird doesn't see you as just a human walking around the house. It may see you as part of its social group. And that leads to something even deeper. 5. They don't do this with everyone. Have you ever noticed your budgie tilting its head more often toward you than toward other people? This is actually very common. Budgies are highly social, but they also form individual bonds. Behavioral scientists studying parrots have observed that many birds develop a preferred human, the person they trust the most, the one they watch the most closely, the one they feel safest around. And guess what? Head tilting often happens more with that person. So if your budgie tilts its head when you speak or approach, it might not be random at all. It could mean something simple. You are their favorite human. But there's one more layer that most owners never realize. 6. It's also a sign of emotional engagement. When your budgie tilts its head and looks at you, something special may be happening. The bird isn't just seeing you, it's engaging with you. Researchers who study parrot communication have observed that birds often combine head tilting with other signals: soft chirping, eye pinning, relaxed body posture. These signals together suggest something important. The bird is emotionally engaged. In other words, your budgie isn't just noticing you, it's interacting with you. Think about that for a second. That small head tilt might be the bird's way of saying, "I'm paying attention to you. I'm interested in you. I'm connected to you." And that's something incredibly meaningful for such a small creature. So the next time your budgie tilts its head and looks at you, remember this. It's not just a random movement. It's not just curiosity. Your bird is adjusting its vision to study you. It's observing you as part of its environment. It might even be recognizing you as a member of its flock. And in that moment, it's choosing to focus on you. That small head tilt might seem simple, but to your budgie, it's a moment of connection. And those little moments are how real bonds between humans and birds are built.